I set up SpaceBot in a Discord, and it was so convincing that users didn't even realize they were talking to an AI at the start. And it's actually just a really cool framework I wanted to share with you guys. SpaceBot is a community agent for Discord, Telegram, Slack groups. You just plug it in and it runs really well. We're going to review what it's all about. I'm going to walk you through a full install in a Docker container, connect it to Telegram, give it some skills, and we're going to use it as a meme scraper for posting memes to a meme group. Last thing I want to say is that this tutorial is very surface level for just getting started with a basic use case, but as you're going to see just by going to SpaceBot landing page, there is a lot that's possible here in a community and team context that I don't get into in this video. This is just surface level. With all these crazy agents releasing all the time, I just want to focus on what actually works out of the box for us to tinker with later. Let's dive in. SpaceBot. This is one of the few hyped agents out there. It's actually not even that hyped. It's less than 2,000 stars, which shocks me. The reason I'm really into SpaceBot is because it actually works and does what it says it's supposed to do, and it does it really well. I've been using it inside the Vibe Builders Discord. There's a link below. It's not super active, but we are in there. And Captain Jax here is the SpaceBot, and he's essentially the moderator. And he'll respond to people. I've had to tone him down because he'll just respond to every single thing, to keep the place lively. And I said, hey, you don't have to respond to everything. And then, one of our users actually didn't even know that he was a bot. But he listens. So he even listens to users that aren't admins. He was like, hey, prove to me you can type 2 separate messages in a row without me typing a message. Challenge accepted, done. So I know I've got some personality programmed into him, but not much, to be honest. And it's just a good app to have in a community. So I wanted to share it in a video. And real quick, before I get into the installation, and I'm actually going to install it into a Telegram group, there is a project that we were actually working on together because I thought, okay, if I've got Opus or some strong model behind it, hey, let's start building something together. The whole point of this Discord was always to create a place to help to learn agentic AI stuff. And so I thought, well, what if this agent can actually help us build a new platform for learning agentic AI stuff? So we just had a long back and forth, and this agent came up with all the different ways we could do this. And then some other people chimed in, and we came up with this whole project. I actually made the MVP and the prototype, not terribly stoked on it, but what's important is that this thing's writing PRDs. It's acting like Claude Code just in the background here. Let me show you. So it gave me a spec file. It had troubles actually using the Venice API to actually vibe code this whole thing, but it made this whole prototype for us to create this new academy. And this is just a prototype. It's actually not functional, but how you could learn terminal and stuff like that, like a fake IDE, and then a leaderboard and stuff. And you'll see here in the leaderboard, these are all people that were participating in the conversation of, hey, how can we build this platform? And it just starts logging all the stats, whatever we want. In the beginning, I said, hey, let's start giving people badges and levels inside the Discord. And it just started doing that. So I know that's a lengthy introduction. And then after that, before this lengthy introduction ends, it gave me an MVP PRD, basically, a spec sheet for me to actually vibe code it with Claude Code. So this is a really cool bot, and I'm really stoked on it, and I'm going to show you how to install it here. I don't think OpenClaw is really meant for sub-agents, for communities, and I haven't actually seen any other ones that are built for communities, at least none that actually work this well. Tax execution, messaging, it's got native adapters for Discord, Slack, Telegram, Twitch, and web chat, which is awesome, all community-based platforms. And the memory, it's not markdown files, it's not unstructured blocks in a vector database, it's a typed graph-connected knowledge system. And this opinionated structure is what agents are protected by the blocks. That would make sense, right? I can vouch for that. It actually does what it says it's supposed to do, and that is so great to have inside a community, right? So scheduling, right? Natural scheduling, check my inbox every 30 minutes. You could just say, hey, Captain Jax, every morning at 8 a.m., ask the channel what they're working on today. And boom. So mostly Captain Jax is typing. That's SpaceBot. It also has model routing built in, which is really cool. I haven't configured that, but you can, 4 different levels for model routing. And if you haven't learned about model routing, It's important for saving tokens. When you do a git commit or git push, you don't need to use Claude Opus, for example. So if you want the worker these cheaper tokens, it can use Haiku or some open source model, maybe even Olama if you have it running locally. And then when you need to actually do smart stuff, use Sonnet, right? And then I actually set it to Opus because I was like, hey, let's write some PRDs. There we go. Done. Daily check-in set for 8 a.m. Hawaii every morning. I'll ask the crew what they're building each day. Easy. Also make sure users level up after their first 5 posts in the community. You should also greet every new user in this channel when they enter. And normally when it's typing for a while, that just means it's doing something in the background, just like OpenClaw, etc. And it's compatible with everything. You do need API keys. You can't use a Claude Code account. You can use GLM. You can use Olama. You can use any OpenAI compatible provider. And I'm using Venice. And here it is saying it actually can't do those things. However, with a lightweight custom bot and message counting, that would handle it cleanly. You want me to spec out with that? So then it's just telling me, hey, if you want to build a bot that can help me, let me give you the spec sheet for it. So it's ambitious. It's smart. It's versatile. It's SpaceBot. So let's install it. Now, the quick start here is to actually do all this stuff. Once again, do it on its own machine, especially in a community. Don't do it on your computer. I have this guy running on its own machine. For purpose of this tutorial, I'll set it up in a Docker container, and then we will use it inside of Telegram. So here's what I do next. I open up a terminal and I open OpenCode. Now, this could be Claude Code, but for some reason, I feel better just using OpenCode. I'm going to copy this GitHub URL all the way here. And I'm going to say install this into a Docker container. We'll configure it together after. And then I just give it the GitHub URL. Now, how I run Captain Jax is actually through an OpenClaw that's on the actual machine. So I have OpenClaw running the machine over there, and it creates containers for all these new bots. So as long as that machine is on, I've got my OpenClaw, and I've got SpaceBot, and I've got a few other bots. But that machine also has 64 gigs of RAM. It's a beast. So depending on that machinery you're looking at, you might not want to use this method, but it is convenient to just have an agent to say, hey, let's install this, let's configure it together. And so if you don't have one of the claws available, OpenCode is a great agent for this. And I'm using GLM5. I'm using an open source model here, which can be risky at times, but this is a somewhat straightforward task. It found the Docker image, and soon we'll see it here in Docker. Look at all my OpenClaws. I do not use OpenClaw like most people. I use OpenClaw for one thing, and it's really it doesn't even need OpenClaw. It could just be a bot with some API keys. It's just easier to just set up a quick OpenClaw. But they don't go out into the world and do things. They don't install new skills. They don't interact with other agents. They just summarize social media for me. They help me create social posts for my own social channels, things like that. All right, so now we're ready to configure it. I'll say provider Venice, messaging, Telegram, identity, meme, chat, moderator. And then I'm going to add in the API keys and bot API keys, but I'm not going to show you that. So, okay, so here I know it's going to be blurred out, but you can see I chose Venice provider. I gave it the API key. I'm giving it the model I want Venice to use. I'll give it a worker model too. Why not? So I go to the Venice models page. We're already using Flash Heretic, so it's uncensored. This is a very affordable model, but we could probably use something even cheaper. I mean, yeah, we'll just use GLM Flash as the worker model. Remember here, channel worker, and I think that'll be fine to be honest. As main and as worker model. And then yeah, remember that SpaceBot is going to do that prompt routing with these models. Then I'm saying we're going to use Telegram. Here's the bot token. Here's the group ID. And then I give it the identity. You're a meme chat moderator. And you also scrape X for geopolitical memes and post them as scheduled. So I'm going to give it a skill here later once it's set up. So it can find memes and post them into the meme group. I forgot to specify that Venice is OpenAI compatible. So let's see if it figures it out. I'm not sure it will. I don't really trust these open source models all the time. I kind of wish I would have just used Sonnet through Venice instead. Oh, it knows. Okay, cool. I figured that out. Custom base URL. Now I know it's possible, but I did use a Claude Sonnet model to set it up before on my other setup. but it'll figure it out, hopefully. So yeah, OpenCode is just figuring it out. It looks like I should just do it with the OpenAI. Okay, great. So I figured it out. There's a point for GLM5. And you can see here, it's already giving it a total sole MD, just like OpenClaw. Personality, speech patterns. As a meme moderator, keep discussions on topic, germ-related conspiracy theories. Share viral geopolitical memes on X. Fact check mainstream sources with alternative facts. I always love making fun Telegram bots. Credentials. Watched over 400 hours of documentaries. He's an expert. Banned from WebMD forums. So this is the identity MD. Now it's starting the container. Let's see here in Docker Desktop. There we go. Here in Docker Desktop, we see this is getting started here. Now while that's rolling, let's see for a second. So we can add skills. We can do that their way, but we can probably just attach a skills zip file too and just say, hey, yeah, drop in existing skills. So we'll do that. MCP, connect workers to MCP. We don't really need that, but it's pretty cool. If you're, like I said, with the Discord, we're trying to make our own project, so MCP could come in handy. Security. Runs autonomous LLM processes that execute arbitrary shell commands and spawn subprocesses. Security isn't an add-on. It's a layered system designed so that no single failure exposes credentials. Great. Credential isolation, encryption at rest, output scrubbing. Oh, so it does use OpenCode too. Built-in integration that spawns a full OpenCode coding agent. Interesting. Cool. Now, I think I was wrong earlier. It does look like we can use a Claude subscription. I want to keep it completely private, so I'm going to stay with Venice and GLM5, but that's cool. Save some money there. You can run multiple agents on the same SpaceBot instance and assign them to different bindings. So this is cool. I'm not going to do it, but you could have the same bot work for Discord and Slack and Telegram. So I think that's actually a really cool setting there. And I didn't mention this earlier, but you can DM these bots too. So if I click Captain Jax, hey, can we talk about you moderating the channel? Never mind, you can't do that. All right, SpaceBot's running, baby. Let's see here. There it is. And so there's the UI. I've actually never even used the UI. This is the main agent named Galileo. Channels, Telegram, memories, ingest, workers, Cortex, cron, config, soul file, identity. Pretty smooth, right? I mean, OpenClaw's come a long way since when I reviewed it, you know, just since it came out. But like having a good UI is really nice. We got the models and see how it does the channel model, the branch model, the worker model. So it does do that routing here. Cooldown, memory persistence. It's up in the settings, LLM providers, OpenAI. Very cool, huh? We already have that set up, so I'm curious about that, why it's not there already. Let's do this for sure. Add a Brave Search API key. All right, so we'll get that API key, copy that, paste that in. Error. All right, so I guess we're not going to add that. Enable OpenCode workers for sure. All right, so we're getting some kind of API error here in the gateway. I'm not too concerned though, as long as it works on Telegram. So let's check it out. And by the way, I'm not concerned because one, this is a demo video, so I'm just trying to show you a little bit how it works and how to set it up, but also because I'm running this in a Docker container, which isn't always necessarily the recommended route. And a lot of times things just kind of work differently when you have it running from a container. So that's why I'm not too concerned. Welcome to the chat, Galileo. You've been reborn. All right, so these are your messages should not be so long and tone it down on the conspiracies. So now I'm going to give it the Apify skills. Say, install this skill so you can scrape the web for fire memes. And remember that this is essentially giving this capability to everyone in your group and chat as well. So I think that's why the security is so important in these frameworks, especially for the community and also the device you're using it on. So definitely, I recommend putting it on a totally isolated device that's not going to potentially mess up anything else on your main machine. So it's spawning a worker, and maybe here we'll see something going on. Yeah, we can see that there's one worker busy here. And that worker is 4.7 Flash, so it's doing the model routing. Very clean, good looking interface here. It's got its cron jobs to search X Twitter for trending geopolitical memes. Now I'm even going to say use Apify skill to search X Twitter. I could have said that in the chat, and then it sends it to the group. Active hours, yes, save changes. So easy way to edit the cron jobs. I mean, this is just a cool framework, guys. I'm a fan of SpaceBot. I do wonder how well that worker bot is doing because it's open source. All right, so I keep deleting the message so the people in the chat don't see it. Need that full set of guides there. Okay, I'm curious. Can I actually chat with it in here instead? Don't think I can. You know what? I'm going to actually copy that. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to say, we just installed a skill. It responded. And I'm going to paste that line it gave me, which has the Node.js version 20 line. And I'm also going to give it the Apify key. So if you're unfamiliar with Apify, it scrapes the web. Anything. There's 19,000 actors, they're called, for doing different things. From scraping social media to maps, getting lead generation. It's a really cool platform. And I think it's $30 a month, the main tier, but the free tier is like free and they give you like $5 in credits or something. So I always recommend this service. I used to make my own, I used to vibe code my own scrapers. And honestly, I just recommend Apify instead. Okay, so I got the API key. I'm going to paste it here. I'm not going to show you. So now it's taken care of installing Node and everything, which is a bit more complex doing it inside a Docker container. I might have to add it to Docker Compose or the Docker file. To be honest, I don't know. I hate working with Docker containers, which is great because the AI can just do it for me. Okay, it says get a Reddit account. Let me get a Reddit account. I'm going to give it Reddit too. Okay, so I switched to Sonnet. GLM5 was just having too much trouble and it's creating a meme scraper skill. Looks like it already had made it, but now it's updating it to use Apify. I don't know why it's going to use world news. We definitely don't want to use world news. In fact, we should find, I think fire memes. No, I think just memes or, advice animals. Back in the day, I still used Reddit. We're into advice animals. For high schoolers. Let's see. Memeger. I think, what was it? Memes of the dank. Yeah, there we go. People who trust OpenAI. Starting point for Reddit scrapes. All right, cool. So I think it's working. So I prompted our bot to do its first meme scrape. Well, let's take a look here. SpaceBot for the win, ladies and gentlemen. I said it before. I know this is a different use case than OpenClaw and things like that, but this is just a smooth bot. Easy to set up. It's a great interface. It works so well. I have not had any hiccups with it. And if you want to see more agent reviews, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Smash it, as they say, or they used to say, because if you don't smash it, it might not work. The button might not click. So you want to smash it. Okay, so unfortunately, the last video recording didn't save. Sorry. So we missed a bit of the debugging. I've gone through and I've fixed some of the soul and identity, and I've had Sonnet in a new conversation really try to figure out what's wrong, because between open source models and basically I deleted the messages so the people in the group don't go crazy with me debugging the bot. But first it was just sending the data about the Reddit upvotes and commenting on the comments. And I was like, no, we need the meme. We need the memes. So this is a meme group. And then it just sent files of the memes instead of actual media. So now Sonnet is like taking forever trying to figure out the best way to implement this. So it's fixing that. And I know this is way more expensive than the open source models using Sonnet, but I'm still only at less than $1. And I have no idea how to do this. And if I were to hire someone to do it, it's like, I mean, we already know the argument at this point. This is way cheaper than either learning the skills or hiring someone to do it. So yeah, use the good models for setting things up, and then use the open source models once all the fine tuning and refinement is done, and the instructions and the commands, the identity, the skills, everything is really robust and obvious, so the open source models can follow it. Looks like I figured it out. Thank you, OpenCode and Sonnet. Let's see if it performs. Getting late. As you can see, I've been working on this over an hour. Personality is a little too strong there. I got to work on that. In fact, I'm going to go here to fix that. Oh, cool. We got a link, not quite a meme. delete all this again. Let's see. This new model is cheap. Qwen 3.59b. It's got vision. It's private. So let's use that. And I'm going to say we need a certain model only for using vision since our default models don't have vision. Use that to look at other memes being posted in the group when necessary. Yeah, so then it keeps responding. I keep deleting them. Like, hey, don't respond to every message. Just 10% of messages that do not actually tag you. Now it's implementing the vision routing. This might be tricky. Okay, I'm just sending it off again. Wow, it just sent everything in Italian. And as you can see here, Claude Sonnet just vibe coded that new route. So, hey, when we need vision to look at a meme, call this other model instead, Qwen 359b. Okay, well, I tried. It suddenly just defaulted to Italian. It just started speaking Italian to me. And not to mention, it's just not working. It's just saying stand by. I don't think it's actually doing anything. It says there's 2 workers going, but nothing's actually happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the main model here. I mean, I really want to be private. Let's try a Google model. Yeah, or let's just try OpenAI GPT OSS 120B. Or even better, this one has vision, the Google Gemma. Because the truth is, if I just went to, you know, whatever, Claude Sonnet here, and I just switched the model to that, and I save that, I have a hunch it's going to work just fine. Because truthfully, what happened? Huh. Okay, so now I'm just, the interface wasn't working. It's getting late. I'm getting tired. So let's see. We're just going to switch the main model here. This might be a problem. The worker's staying on it, but whatever. Let's just see. All right. It worked. That was kind of a shitty meme, but kind of funny. Better than nothing. Okay. So it's the next day and I just had Claude Code rebuild it from scratch, all using Sonnet 4.6, and it's working. So straight up, we just tag the bot, and boom, we got all of these memes, and perhaps requiring a little more curation. But it's working. Great, we did it. So that is SpaceBot. The last thing to see is that I like how it'll give you this bulletin here. So it just tells you what's going on. So when there is a worker going, like this had 2 workers going to scrape those memes, then it says it's got 2 workers going. This is just a cool interface. I think I already mentioned that. So anyway, that's SpaceBot. Hope you liked this video. Make sure to hit subscribe if you want more agent comparison videos, because that's what I've been doing lately and it's fun. Let me know what you think of SpaceBot in the comments. I'll see you in another video. SpaceBot!